Hello, everybody. All right, we have a lot to cover today, so thank you for being here. The purpose of this live stream is to raise money for the North Texas Food Bank, and just amongst the challenges that we're facing right now with the government shutdown, the SNAP program, which affords low income families the ability to eat and to have food. We're at risk of those benefits running out on November 1st unless the government funding situation changes. So, this is going to affect about 40 million Americans, which is a really big deal. Good morning, caveman. Um, I'm really grateful to everyone for being here, and I want to let everyone know, whether or not you're able to donate, your presence matters, your attention matters. The more awareness that we can bring to these types of issues, the more change that we will end up seeing. So even if you can't donate, I would ask you to share this stream with others, comment. Higher engagement leads to higher awareness. So my goal here today, I have featured the North Texas. Is this happening on the right? Hang on just a second. I am featuring the North Texas Food Bank. I'm in Fort Worth, and so this is a food bank that's pretty close to my neck of the woods in DFW. Okay, yes, it does look like. Hang on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the sound was working and that it was live streaming in the correct place. Correct place. Um, Yes. So to raise money for the North Texas Food Bank, but also the purpose of this is just to donate to your local food bank. So even if it's not North Texas, I've put a link in the description so that you can donate. You can figure out where your local food bank is and how to donate. And Levi is saying in the comments, to be clear, not food stamps. We're going to talk more about the SNAP program today. So I'm going to share what it is, who is affected, why everybody's talking about it right now, how it affects the disabled community, and practical steps that we can all take to support each other as this all unfolds. Okay. So, first of all, let's talk about what is SNAP. So, this stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The purpose of SNAP, and I would recommend everybody to do their own research. I've been a little bit out of sorts. I had a hysterectomy last week. Healing is going well, but this has been on my heart to raise money for this, and so I'm getting back in the saddle today. Did some research on this, but please do your own research. I'm putting some numbers together to help us learn a little bit today, but please supplement this with your own time and attention. Okay, so it was formerly the food stamp program in the U.S. It stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It was the federal government's largest nutrition assistance program designed to help low income individuals and families purchase food. It's administered by the United States Department of Agriculture via its Food and Nutrition Service. The earliest program like it was started in 1939 during the Great Depression. In the 1960s, there were pilot programs, but then the Food Stamp Act of 1964 made the program permanent on October 31st of 1964. Over time, the name changed. In 2008, the program was renamed SNAP, and benefits became electronically distributed. So, who benefits from SNAP? Low income households who meet eligibility criteria based off of income and assets, etc., they receive cash equivalent benefits via an EBT to buy approved food. And an average month in recent years, more than 40 million people benefit. That's a lot of Americans. Households with children, seniors, disabled people are common recipients, and the program is a key safety net. So, I wanted to talk about how this specifically affects our autistic community. And if you look, you should be able to look below the live stream. There's a blue button that says donate if you're interested in donating to the North Texas Food Bank fundraiser. Um, let's talk about the disability community. So, disability and food insecurity are deeply linked together. Disabled adults experience food insecurity at 2 to 3 times higher rates than non disabled adults. In 2023, around 27% of households with a working age adult with a disability experienced food insecurity versus 11% of all US households. So 27% versus 11%. That's a big difference. Disabilities often make working full time or consistently impossible, creating a fixed or limited income that doesn't keep up with inflation, especially for food and medical costs. So I know there's people in our community, in our autistic community, who have messaged me and said, my food benefits are running out and I'm worried, I'm scared. So there are people here within our community that we can help by taking action on this today. Cayman, have I ever gone to a food bank? I have. How would I suggest an ADHDer with RFID to navigate? That's a really interesting question with RFID. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with RFID, that's avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. Can you clarify a little bit, Caveman? Are you talking about like to like give a donation or to receive a donation? If you want to share that in the comments, that would maybe give me a little bit more of an indication where we're coming from on that. Okay, so many people rely on SNAP plus where'd my notes go on that? Thank you so much, RR. Our first donation. Thank you so much. $20 from RR. Thank you so much. So many people rely on SNAP or um, Social Security income or disability income as their entire income base. So losing SNAP, this isn't just like a small thing. It can mean immediate hunger or skipped medications so that you can afford groceries. So think about that. Like if you had to go without the medication that you need, if you had to try to make that decision, like, do I need medication? Do I spend money on my medication or do I spend money on food? Um, that is a huge decision to have to make. And people are going to be facing this decision if the government shut down, if there's no resolution made before November 1st. Yeah, so like a lot of us maybe we would choose the medication, like maybe we need that more. Levi's saying skip food over medication. Some of us need that medication so badly that we would consider going without food. But I want to ask you, when was the last time that you felt hungry? Not like I need a snack, not like it's time to start making dinner. When was the last time that you had like a hunger pang where you felt that deep sense of like, I need food. Many of us have not felt that feeling in a long time because we have the luxury of our pantry being full of food, our fridge being full of food. We can get in the car and go pick something up to eat, or we can go to the grocery store and get fresh groceries. But when you feel that deep hunger, that is a really, really awful thing to experience, and it affects the decisions that are being made by you and for your household. When people are hungry and unable to feed themselves, it drastically changes what they're able to contribute to society. Not that that's the value that people have, what they contribute to society. I don't mean it like that, but there's huge ripple effects societally when people are hungry. Um, for children, think about a child going to school with an empty stomach and then not having anything in their lunchbox, not bringing a lunchbox to school for lunch. I'm really proud of Fort Worth, where I am. Our one of our school districts, they have done a really great job of prioritizing low cost or free meals to students for breakfast and lunch. I'm so proud of our school district. Um, So it has ripple effects that are really, really important to talk about. Oh, we're up to $40. Yes, we had another donation. Thank you so much to those of you who are donating. I wanted to share just something that I saw one of my friends shared. There's a coffee shop in Portland. I think the name of it is Heretic. And they have, um, I can't remember what they're either like giving away free breakfast for people until SNAP benefits come back into play, or I can't remember. They were raising money. Somebody suggested they raise money. I'm realizing I need to get my ducks in a row. Okay. The the short of it is in one day, they raised $86,000 for their community in Portland for low-income families, and they interviewed, I think, the owner of the coffee shop of Heretic, and he was saying, "These aren't people giving, like, $1,000 donations." He pulled up his phone, he said, "One of these donations is for $1.17." And you know that for the person who is giving $1.17, they had $1.17 to give. And those types of donations, especially think about this, we're global here on YouTube with the live stream, like $1.17 multiplied adds up very quickly. So even if you feel like your donation doesn't matter, I promise it does. Every bit goes a long way. And we're focusing on um, food banks today because food banks are able to stretch the dollar further when it comes to providing meals. What does that mean for those of us in our autistic community who have trouble with idioms? Stretching the dollar. It means, they've got connections. They have connections to buy food in bulk. So whereas we could go to the grocery store and spend $20 and get a couple of ingredients, they can use that $20 to buy in bulk many more ingredients that are going to cover a far greater range of meals and people who need them. So I know for the North Texas Food Bank, who I'm featuring today on this live stream, $1 will cover 3 meals. That is wild. $1 will cover 3 meals. So even if you can only give $1, you can provide 3 meals for someone, which is pretty incredible. And I believe YouTube covers all of the transaction fees that are involved in this. So I don't see like this money is not going through me. Anything you donate, I'm not going to see it. All I can see is that we're raising money over here. We're sitting at $40, which is amazing. So happy for these donations coming in, but this is just going to go straight to North Texas Food Bank. If you decide to donate to one of your own food banks locally, let me know in the comments. Say, hey, I just donated 15. I just donated $3. I just donated, even if it's not to this campaign. Thank you so much, Anonymous. Thank you for the $25 donation. This is really, really wonderful. So even if you're not donating to this specific food bank, let me know in the comments if you are donating to another organization. So no Kid Hungry, I think, is another campaign, a nationwide campaign right now. And then I put a link in the description if you want to figure out where your own local food banks are. You can click that link and find how to directly support the food bank in your neighborhood. Oh, another anonymous donation. Thank y'all so much. This is amazing. This is so great. Oh, goodness, Caveman, I'm sorry to hear about your situation. Yeah, so for those of you just joining, thank you so much for being here. We have covered what SNAP is, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program in America that is risking the benefits running out if the government does not come to a funding solution before November 1st, which is in 2 days. We've talked about who benefits. We've talked about how this applies to disabled people, especially people within our community. So, the disabled population, I want to share again, disabled adults experience food insecurity at 2 to 3 times higher rates than non disabled adults. And around 27% of households with a working age adult with a disability experience food insecurity. That's almost one, it's a little, okay, so 1 in 4, a little over 1 in 4. Um, people. Like, think about that. You're sitting at lunch with 4 people, and one of them is dealing with food insecurity. And that's 27% of households with an adult with a disability, which in my neck of the woods, in my community, um, you know, I'm surrounded by a lot of us beautiful people who are differently abled. Um, okay, so I wanted to share some Texas statistics since I'm highlighting the North Texas Food Bank today. Thank you. Oh, we're up to $100, our first $100. Thank you so much. Okay, SNAP stats for Texas. In 2024, an average of 3.19 million people in Texas received SNAP benefits each month. That's about 10% of our population. 10%. So if I go to the grocery store in Texas, one out of every 10 of them, one out of every 10 of us have experienced or have used SNAP benefits, benefit from SNAP benefits. That's huge. And I think Texas is one of the states with the lowest engagement in the SNAP program. So those numbers are probably going to be higher in your state. More than 30% of SNAP participants in Texas are in families that include members who are older adults or disabled. So elderly or disabled, more than 30%. One of every 3 almost. In 2023, about 17.6% of Texans and over 22% of Texas children experienced food insecurity. That just breaks my heart. Almost 1 in 5, more than 1 in 5 children in Texas experiencing food insecurity. These numbers are high. These numbers are high. And the support that we have been receiving is losing its funding. So even those of us that do not benefit from SNAP, we are benefiting from SNAP because grocery stores depend on this SNAP money coming in. This is part of their budgets. This is part of how they make ends meet. And when we strip this funding away, it's going to make the price of groceries higher than they already are. And I don't know if anybody else is like me, but when I go to the grocery store recently, I'm like, how did this one sack of groceries cost $100? It's wild. And I feel very privileged to be able to say that I can go to the store and buy $100 worth of groceries. But the cost of groceries is only going to climb as SNAP benefits run out, and it's going to affect all of us. So let's keep the donations going. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you for being here. This live stream fundraiser is focused on the North Texas Food Bank. I'm here in Fort Worth, and so this is a local food bank that's close to me. But the goal of this live stream is just to support food banks who can help us feed more people during this time. So if you decide to support your own local food bank, which you can find a link to in the description to help you find your local food bank, let me know in the comments if you're donating to those food banks as well, so we can celebrate those even if they're not being counted on our donation counter. You should be able to scroll down. Let's see. You should be able to scroll down beneath this chat. I was hoping it would show in the chat. But right beneath the chat, it shows how much we've raised through this fundraiser today. So we're currently sitting at $100. Thank you so much, everyone, for your donations. Okay, we talked about what is SNAP, when did it start, who benefits. Thank you so much. Every dollar counts. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $5. Yes, so from an economic perspective, money that's distributed through the SNAP program is quickly spent in grocery stores, local grocery stores, farmers markets. It boosts retail, farms, local supply chains. One article estimates that every dollar of SNAP generates $1.79 in economic activity. Let me read that again. Thank you so much for these anonymous donations. Thank you so much. We're up to 120 now. Beautiful, beautiful. Each one article estimates each dollar of SNAP generates $1.79 in economic activity. What a great investment. If you could put a dollar in the bank and they'd give you $1.79 back, that's incredible. That's an incredible return. This also reduces the burden elsewhere with our health systems, with all our social supports, with emergency food services. If people are better fed, there are fewer downstream costs. Food is like the starting point. And if we don't have food, then everything else suffers in return. And what I get worked up about is that there's not a shortage. There is not a shortage of money. And that's another topic for another day. But there's plenty for all of us, and I'm not here to, like, get on my soapbox right now because the people in this chat are lovely people who are wanting to do good and help, but there's no reason to be fearful or to be scared. There's enough to go around. We just all have to find connection points with each other to remember our humanity. When we see each other as human, when we reach out, um, when we reach out and support our local community, whether that's volunteering at a school or a library or supporting local businesses or checking in on your neighbor, you know, I'm not I'm not sharing this to like toot my own horn or whatever the saying is, but like my elderly neighbor, I noticed that his beloved convertible was in the driveway with the top down when it was raining the other day. And I went over to check on him and it just it felt so good to be connected to the people around me. It was just a reminder that I need to reach out and be a part of the world around me and not just the one on my phone. Um so really find ways to see the humanity in each other, to be in person and experience life with other people. I know sometimes that can be overwhelming for us as autistic individuals, but even small shared moments can really make a huge ripple effect. I'm not sure why the donations are coming in anonymously because I know at the beginning RR showed up. Why would RR show up and all of the other ones are coming in as anonymous? Oh, thank you. Chris already said. Thank you, Chris. Chris says you have to have checked the box that says display name next to donation. So if you want your name displayed, which is beautiful, let's celebrate it. Let's have your names displayed. I love this. We're up to $130 raised for the North Texas Food Bank. For those of you joining us, any donation is great if it's $1 or if you're donating to a different food bank, or No Kid Hungry, any different campaigns, let us know in the comments so that we can celebrate those as well. And then just, from a humanitarian civic responsibility perspective, knowing that many of us are going to be struggling with basic needs like food, this affects all of us. Our resilience as a community becomes weaker, and that adds up so quickly. That will be felt so, so, so quickly, and especially worse outcomes for children. That's the heart of why I wanted to come on today is let's work together to support getting children fed. Um, it's so, so important. And I've been super inspired. I've been reading my one of my heroes is Fred Rogers, and just the value and importance that he placed on showing up and being there for children, it radically transforms the world. So let's work together and support families, let's support children, and let's do what we can to make a difference. I'm going to share this story again briefly for anybody joining us now. A coffee shop in Portland, they raised $86,000 for low income families, and the owner of the coffee shop was going through donations, and he said, "Look at this one. It's $1.17." Okay, think if everybody gave $1, it could make a huge difference. So please don't think that because you can't donate $5 or $10 that it doesn't matter. Anything makes a difference. So thank you so much for your donations. We're sitting at $130 right now, which is beautiful. Thank you so much for those donations. I also just wanted to say I feel so grateful that I don't find myself in situations where I have to rely on these types of programs. But there's also, I mean, I am a very hard worker, but there's such an element of luck as well. I've been lucky to not be in those situations where I need that assistance. So many families are one crisis away from not being able to afford essentials. And I've really felt that a lot this year. I mentioned earlier that I just had surgery last week. I had a hysterectomy, and medical bills in America can take you out unexpectedly, and they are astronomical. Like without insurance, the procedure that I had done was $100,000. And then with insurance, it's still really expensive. And I'm so grateful, that I am going to be okay. That's not to say this is an easy thing to pay for, but like if I am affected, I just, my words are failing me a bit now, but anybody can be, their fate can change in an instant, right? And what I was dealing with was endometriosis, which doesn't play favorites. Like this can happen to anybody. It's not because I had a poor diet. It's not because I made bad decisions in my life. It's because I have ovaries and ovaries do their own thing. So, healthcare, health issues, crises, like these don't hit, these don't like pick favorites. It can happen to literally any of us anytime. And so, we're all going to struggle at some points in our lives. We're all going to need extra assistance at some points in our lives that might look different. But just because you're not receiving benefits does not mean that you've done something better, you know? And hopefully you can hear what I'm saying there, right? Like this is nuanced, but think of a friend or a family member who something happened. There was a legal situation that cost a ton of money, or a medical situation, or a car accident. And all of a sudden, your financial landscape changes in a moment. And it can happen to absolutely anyone. Um, hey, Poss, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you, Amy. Amy donated to North Texas Food Bank and also to her local food bank. Much appreciated. Yeah, I mentioned if anybody's donating to anybody during this live stream, please let us know because I've got my local food bank here featured, North Texas Food Bank, but please donate to anyone anywhere. Highlighting food banks today because they can help us stretch our dollar when it comes to um, getting people fed. Oh, yeah, that's true, Molly. The community and family we have is another form of privilege that so many people don't have. So true. To have family that's able to step in if you ever find yourself in a space where you need food is huge. And that's been part of my recovery process as well. Like my parents, my family have taken such good care of me. They have provided food for me during the recovery phase that I've been going through. And like, I'm so, so grateful. That's a privilege that I have. My family can help provide me with those needs. We don't all have those privileges. Yes, I feel very, very lucky, MLR. I feel very lucky. Okay, a couple of other notes to make. Cost benefit data shows that SNAP reduces hunger and food insecurity, which again has downstream savings, healthcare, school, welfare. Um, Everyone benefits when poverty and hunger are reduced. And like I said, many who don't use SNAP today could face a need in the future. During the pandemic, I found myself in a completely different financial situation because as an in-person flute teacher, my financial reality changed very quickly. And I've joked before that one of the worst sounds in the entire world is teaching piccolo through Zoom. So again, I feel very fortunate that um, even at the worst of times, I still was able to have benefits that a lot of people don't get to experience. Um, and programs like SNAP are typically temporary for many households. They're supports during transition periods, not lifelong handouts. Research shows that consistent access to food often helps people get back on their feet more quickly. I mean, and that just makes sense, right? If you know where your food is coming from, think about how you would approach work if you didn't know where your next meal was coming from. How would you show up to your job? Stressed, completely like exhausted, and having access to food changes absolutely everything. Thanks for all the hearts coming in. I think we can get up to 175 for our donation totals today. We're at 130 right now. Can we get 45 more dollars in donations? Um, I think we can do that. Lots of hearts still coming in. Another way to support during this time is to volunteer at your local food shelters so you can help them support or you can help them pack, sort things, distribute. Many food banks need extra help, especially during times like this. So there's probably donations coming in a little more than usual, hopefully, and that usually requires more people to help manage that. You can also help by raising sorry, I re I refreshed my browser and then I heard myself over there. Um, by raising awareness. So even if you're reposting, like there's things that I've shared on Instagram, it's like just seeing the numbers sometimes can kind of put things into perspective for other people who might really care about what you think about things, who might really look up to you the way you live your life. And you never know, just by sharing one, two things, sometimes that can make a difference and kind of move people to act. But I have found even more than sharing things online is having conversations with people, even if it's a text or, like I was saying, volunteering within your community and just checking in on somebody and seeing how they're doing. You can, one thing that my mom has always done really well, my mom makes meals for people when they're not doing well. So make a meal for your neighbor. That's one way that you can directly impact the situation. Oh, we just jumped up to $230. So we totally nailed that. So thank you, Anonymous. Thank you so much. That's really incredible. That is so appreciated. And just as a reminder, I don't see any of this money. It's not even like going through my hands electronically, so to speak. This is just going straight to North Texas, and YouTube covers the transaction costs, which is really, really nice because if you've done any kind of fundraiser before, a lot of times the transaction fees can be taken off the top, which is not cool. Um, but I think this is a pretty great platform for helping organizations out. So okay, policy advocacy. You can encourage other people in your life and yourself to contact your legislators support bills that secure SNAP funding and protect food assistance programs. Again, even if you don't directly benefit from them, it trickles down and you are affected by them. Whether or not you participate in these programs or not, you are affected by them every time you go to the grocery store and in the way your community functions. The economic well-being of your community is affected by this. And speaking of that, it is voting season, so I think tomorrow is the end of early voting. Um, I know in Texas we're voting on I believe I voted before my hysterectomy, so a lot has happened since then. 17 different constitutional amendments. If you go to vote411.org, you can find out what's on your ballot and get more information. It will break down what's on the ballot in like real human terms so that you don't have to read all that jargon that may or may not make sense to you. So vote411.org and make sure that you vote in your local election. They're happening right now. Early voting ends tomorrow. Official voting date of November 4th next week. Support local farmers or markets. You know, most of us know this. Supporting local farmers markets is really important. Um, and long term, just remembering that hunger is not like a crisis problem. It's like an everyday thing to be mindful of. Where are people getting their food? How can we help people get the necessary nutrients that they need in order to be healthy and thrive? Because overall, when one of us is hurting, we're all hurting. You know, it trickles down. And when one of us is doing well, it really helps the community thrive in a larger sense as well. That's a great suggestion too, MLR. Call your local pantries to see if they need drivers to pick up produce or donations. It's a really good reminder. Thank you. So, why are food banks a good option to support right now? Whether that's the North Texas Food Bank or your own, again, you can find the link in the description so that you can find your own local food banks. They're a good thing to. Sorry, my brain left for a second. They're a good thing to support right now because since SNAP benefits are at the risk of disruption, the demand for emergency food assistance will spike. And food banks, like the North Texas Food Bank, are frontline responders who are going to do a lot of the work to help make sure as many people get fed as possible. They're also local and experienced, so they already have, I've been saying already like a Texan, they already have infrastructure and partnerships and distribution networks. So supporting them means your donation and time, hits your local community faster. Let's do 250 before I head off. So we've got 230 raised right now. I just raised the stakes. Um, so let's make it to 250. We need 20 more dollars of donation to be able to send that 250 to the North Texas Food Bank. And then also food banks have much higher purchasing power when it comes to stretching the dollar. North Texas Food Bank has said that for every $1 that you donate, it provides 3 meals. $1 provides 3 meals. That's amazing. Oh, that's a helpful acronym. Caveman is sharing. HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Be an interesting thing to read a little bit more about. Yeah, and then I just wanna share again that there I think when we can approach these types of things with love and compassion, right? It's okay for there to be anger too. Like I'm angry that there's these shortages happening because there's so much money. There's so much money at the top that's being withheld from the people who really need it. But I think when we approach these situations with love and compassion, like for the people affected, right? Focus on the people who are affected by this. not the people at the top. Yes, let's stay informed and let's be aware of what's happening, but focus on the people who are being affected by these changes. Focus on getting to know these people, whether that's reading about their stories, whether that's, like I said, volunteering or helping out in your community. When we connect with each other on a human level and start understanding each other's struggles, what we've overcome to get to where we are, that makes all the difference in terms of how we treat each other, not just in those small moments, but in large scale community networks of support. Um, and our whole infrastructure societally, it starts with just these small micro connection points where we remember that we're surrounded by people who are human just like us, and we all need each other. We all need each other. That's so important for now and forever as we go further and faster into AI and robot territory. Um, Human connection is where it's at, and we have to continue prioritizing that. So let's do this. We've got $20 more to raise, $20 more to raise for the North Texas Food Bank fundraiser. See if we can get $20 more before the end of our live today. Let's pause this. And thank you everybody so much for being here. It means a lot that you care about this enough to stick around and kind of learn a little bit more. I know the headlines can seem kind of intimidating and scary sometimes, but when we don't approach with fear, but take a step back, take a deep breath, find ways to create autonomy for ourselves. So, autonomy means being able to have some semblance of control or structure related to these challenges. Like, we can regain some sense of autonomy by helping, by giving, by donating. Um, those types of things can help you feel more grounded and stable when the world feels just completely out of control. Yeah, approach with curiosity. Yeah, absolutely. Catch up on some of the comments over here. Good, deviate. Thank you for contacting representatives. I think it's so important to use our voice in that capacity too. And if you need help contacting representatives, because I know that can feel kind of overwhelming. If you're comfortable with using something like ChatGPT, you can say, "Hey, ChatGPT, can you help me contact my local representatives? Here's where I live, and here's what I would like to say," and it will draft it for you, and it will give you the link to know exactly where to send that messaging. There's a lot of hearts coming in. Thank you for all the hearts coming in. Yeah, well, one thing I'll say about that caveman, I just think there's a lot of conversations right now. There it is, Marie. Thank you for the $20. We hit the 250. Yeah. Woohoo, I wish I could do, like, emojis. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then let me see. I'm gonna provide a mom on the spectrum donation as well, but I'll do it after our live stream ends. Um, I'll just say there's a lot of conversations happening right now that are not worthy of our attention. What you focus on, you'll create more of. So be very mindful of the conversations that you pay attention to. Yes, it's important to stay informed, but there's also, you know, some conversations that are only going to add anxiety and stress and overwhelm to our plates. So there's plenty of wonderful, beautiful conversations happening. Like, if you've seen stuff lately, like the last couple of days, there's been so many incredible things happening in communities where people are putting up tents and like providing free produce and like no questions asked, just walk up and get whatever you need. And so it's in times like this, I hate that these things have to happen, but in times like this that you can really start to see communities come together. Okay, we just got up to $300. Um, thank you, Robin. Thank you, Marie. Wow. Um, yeah, when you say it like that, Chris, um, I do feel really touched. Like I know that this is my food bank and I am in North Texas and like the people who have given today, that just means so much to me because it feels like, um, thank you for being here, Jeff. It feels like an investment in like my community. Like y'all are my community, right? It's so cool because this is my local community combined with my global community. And so it just means so much to me. Thank you all so much for participating and for being here. Be kind to yourself. What you focus on, you create more of. So focus on the things that matter. Focus on the people that matter. Focus on the projects that matter. Be kind to yourself. Move slowly. Move gently. And I'm going to head out because I have a follow up doctor's appointment I have to make. But this is incredible. It's incredible. Okay. Thank you, everybody, so much. And I will keep this live stream will be viewable immediately after it's done. So feel free to revisit it. I think the donation link will stay active, but then again, you can also find the donation links in the description so that you can find your local food bank and you can give directly to them and have that benefit your immediate community. So thank you so much. I will talk with everyone again later. Thank you so much. Bye.